All right, so this is Ronald Shaw with FTT 122-54338. Today's date is 1/26/2025. This is week 7's assignment. Disassemble dummy cartridge, explain the missing components and how they would be disassembled as if they were there. Part 2 is going to be measure, record projectile length, projectile diameter, case measurements, then draw to scale cartridge and components. And for the part 4, demonstrate proper findings of a projectile weight using the scale that was provided. So to save some time, I've already assembled some things, but we are going to be using the 223 round. That is a dummy cartridge. As you can see, the missing components are the primer and the powder. Those are the two missing components. I have already assembled the collet, hammer end, and hammer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cap, drop the collet in, take the hammer, screw that on, not too tight so we can get our cartridge in. That will snap into place, and then we can tighten that down. I already tried using the table once, didn't work, so I went and found a harder surface. Hopefully we can get this to separate. That one doesn't want to work, so we're going to switch cartridges. I went to switch cartridges and I realized that this one is almost out. It just takes a lot more force than I was expecting. And there we go. So if this had the black powder in it, the powder, we would take our powder dish, pull off our end, set that off to the side, separate it from the collet. So now we have our cartridge, and let's say that there is the powder in there. We would then empty the everything plus the projectile into our powder tin. So now we can take and separate out our projectile, and so those are those components. Set that off to the side. So if this had the primer in it, according to the video that we watched on the SDI week 7 videos, the master gunsmith said that in a safe environment, you could take your empty cartridge, place it in a firearm in a safe environment to pop the primers out. So that takes care of part 1. Part 2 is going to be measure and record projectile length using the caliper provided with us. So I'll move some things out of the way. Bring over the handy dandy notebook. So for the first thing we're going to grab is our projectile and our caliper. Make some quick measurements here. Our diameter. Is going to be 223 thousandths. So for the diameter, it's going to be 0.223 for the diameter. And then our overall length on the projectile.
Did you get it, Dad?
Will be 715, 16, 17, 18 thousandths. 718 thousandths. So that takes care of the projectile. Moving on to the case. We're going to start with the neck. and just work our way down from there. So going into the neck, get this drawn up. The neck is going to come in at 221 thousandths. Moving on to the shoulder, which is going to be the little bit more difficult one because of the angle. If we go right into the middle of the shoulder, we are looking at 310 thousandths. Moving down to the body, we have 318 thousandths. Moving on down to the rim, we have it's going to be 300 and looks like 380 thousandths. Now the head part I'm not 100% on, just because there's no real good way to measure. The video wasn't real specific. So trying to measure the head gap is just with the micrometer is going to be a little bit trickier. So moving on to the drawing, knowing what we have here, we can start with the rim at 380 thousandths. We can just kind of lay this guy down, make our two marks for the dimension now, draw a flat line, and then measure the head space, the head. Get this wound tight again. So that is going to measure 111 thousandths. So we can bring that in here, eyeball that to there, eyeball that to there. So our rim is going to come there. The body was 318. So there's 3, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we can just make a couple educated marks here. Right there, right there. Come up here, right there, right there. And we can draw them down. This would have been a lot easier on graph paper had I went and got some. Now the overall length of the body can be measured with a caliper. This micrometer doesn't go up big enough. So for that, I will use the actual case itself just to give us a roundabout to the shoulder. There. Now the shoulder was 310. So we go down to 310. Give our shoulder dimensions here and here. And then we can taper our shoulder up, and then our neck was 221, so we can measure that into right there. Again, bringing this in here, right there, and then that'll come down to here. That'll give us to there, give us a rough 223 case, and then knowing the diameter in the neck for the 223, we bring that down to 223. Measure that out here and here, and then the overall length was 718. So we bring that down to 718. It gives us a rough estimate right there. And then we can just draw our taper here, and it gives us our rough drawing. Now to demonstrate for the projectile weight with our scale, turn the scale on, let it zero out just to verify that we are at 100 grams. Switch over to the grams. We are at 100 grams. Grab our projectile on there. Our projectile weighs 3.55 grams, and that will conclude the video.